Yo, what's up, pirates? My name is Dennis from Super Pirate Bros, and today we're going to be talking about Belo, the wonderful leader from the last set in the beautiful McDonald's colors of red and yellow, and they go very well together. And it's always a deck that people fear playing because they know it's just a deck that relies on triggers. But guess who also relies on triggers? Katakuri. This deck surprisingly has a good matchup against Katakuri. That's the deck that I actually go 50-50 with because it's pretty much like a Katakuri mirror as well. It's whoever sees triggers most wins the game. And our deck is very trigger happy, as I'll be showing you. I've played her since the last sets, and I didn't want to make a deck profile back then because I didn't think it was that strong anyway. But ever since this set with the new cards that came out, she's actually a very good, strong leader that doesn't rely on triggers only. There's other ways to make board in this deck now with the new cards that came out in OP06. So I recently got second place on my locals with this, so I want to share with you guys the deck profile for it. So let's talk about the leader real quick in case you don't know. It's that you can discard a revolutionary type card from your hand, and then up to 3 of your revolutionary army type characters or a character with trigger will get 3,000 power for the turn. So once you power up 3 cards, you're talking about discarding 1 card from your hand and basically giving 9 Dawn of power to your characters. It's pretty insane, and it gets pretty scary if your opponent lets a board develop or when you get triggers and they have no choice but to deal with your board. So let's get right to the deck profile. Right here, this is our starter. We have a searcher in the name of Belo as well. And you just look at 5 and pick up a revolutionary army type card from your hand. So yeah, when you mulligan, I'll look for this girl. She's very important because then later on she's a 2K. With the leader's effect, she gets to attack because +3 puts her at 5, which means you're hitting the leaders at 5, so it's not bad. Also in this deck, you want to go first all the time because you want to start pushing pressure because this is a highly rushed down deck that doesn't want the game to last long because you're relying on your triggers anyway. So yeah, you go first, you go search with Betty, that's your best bet. One of the cards you can search already is going to be your 2K Koala. So she has an effect, it just minus 3,000 to an opponent for the turn. And it's not bad. I mostly use her for a discard as a 2K to protect the character mostly. But she comes up when you want to combine her with a character called Lindbergh that can KO characters that are 3,000 power or less on attacking. So she makes that effect become 6,000 power or less. Next up, we've got 3 of Bartolomeo Kuma. He's also a trigger, but you don't have to discard anything. You get to KO a guy that's 2,000 power or less. So you can also go Kuma with Koala. Or if your opponent has a low power character like Rebecca or Brule, this guy can just knock it out for free. And then at 2K, with the leader's effect, he can attack the next turn for 5,000 power as well. So Kuma's really good at, made room for him at 3. Up next is another 3-drop. Well, it's a 3-drop. Inazuma. This one has Rush if you have a character that has 7,000 power or more. It comes up quite a lot, but I had to lower it to 3 because we've gotten so many new cards and I just had to find cuts somewhere. So this is one of the hits for it. But yeah, you get Rush and you have to time it perfectly because you need to make sure that you got the 7K power on board and that this thing can attack as well for something more than 4,000. So you'd want to wait till you have a character, then use Betty to boost that character and Inazuma, and then you're basically hitting for 7. So that's the right way to do it. It's sometimes hard to pull off. Next to the main big triggers that we have here, starting with Morley. It's also a 3-5, so on your second turn, if you're going first, it's very good to drop this guy. Pretty powerful to do. And then he ignores blockers if he has 7,000 power or more, so that's his little thing. Your opponents might forget that at times, and then you just, boom, swing through a blocker and they didn't realize when they were planning to rely on one. Up next, we've got one of the most powerful cards in the whole set that came out in OP05. It was Karasu. So on play, if your leader's Revolutionary Army, you get to go minus 1,000 to your opponent's leader or character for the whole turn. So this is what makes your game-winning plays, is this guy at the end of the game, when you're going for the leader a bunch of times, you make it for a 4,000 leader or possibly a 3,000 leader. So it's pretty crazy. And then attacking, he gets to do it again if he has 7,000 power or more. And again, with the leader's effect, he'll be having more than 7,000 power quite easily. So Karasu is very important for the deck. Up next is Lindbergh. Got to max out on him. He's another good trigger. So when attacking, you KO a guy that's 3,000 power or less if he's 7,000 power or more. So this with Koala is pretty nasty. So that's one option you can do. But yeah, usually happy to see this in the triggers because, again, small blockers and small characters can just be KO'd with him for free. This one's new from OP06. It's Inazuma. This time it's a 1 with a Banish. It's a 4/5 cost, so you get to play with a bunch of your other characters' effects. And yeah, banish is very important in this format because, as we all know, katakuri is crazy popular. So being able to banish your triggers is just the best feeling ever. And only a 7,000 power more, you just boost your character. So it's not that hard to do. So gotta play 4 of your banisher. Very good card. One from the last set is Emporio Ivankov. This one is very good to see. If it has 7,000 power or more, you get to play a Revolutionary Army type with 5,000 power or less from your hand. So you cheat out cards. So you can even boost it with the leader's effect, put the character at 8k, then you get to play any of your other cards that I just passed through. Basically, every single card that's on the mat right now, you can cheat it out with Emporio Ivankov, which is pretty nuts. So yeah, we love to see this character early on. Very good to get your plays out. And then up next, because you want to flood the board, because like I said, you get to boost soon enough 3 characters at once with your leader effect. So you get to boost this, whatever you played, and something else, and just keep hitting fast and hitting strong. Next, from OP06, the best yellow card and the most annoying to deal with, it's King Kokanojo. As we all know, you can't even KO this thing, or you really do not want to, because it'll give you a free life if your opponent has 3 life or less. So since your leader is a rushdown leader and you're working on lowering your opponent's life rather quickly, this comes as a active trigger very quickly. So also remember to try to protect your life if your opponent does not have 3 or less life yet, because then this thing will not be able to trigger, and then it's stuck in your hand as a no counter. So it's kind of sucks for that. Then you have to end up hard playing it. But when it's there, it's crazy sticky on board. Unless your opponent can bottom deck it or bounce it to the hand, it's going to stay there for a while, and then it can be boosted with the leader's effect as well. So 4 of Kiku's over there. I made room for 1 cracker. I like 1 cracker because, again, he's just another trigger, and he can have double attack by holding it on. And he can be boosted by the leader, so double attack is pretty scary, especially in a deck that already does heavy rushdown style. So room for 1 of that. Up next, I got 4 Sanjis, also a blocker, but then also can attack for high damage with the leader's ability, and can save you at the late game, you know, for when you see it in the triggers. Also good to see there. Next one, this is the card that really put the deck on the map. It's the new Emporio Ivankov from set 6. So this one here costs 5 for 6, no counter, but we don't care. We always want to see this thing in our hand. So then by our 3rd turn, we can play this thing out. And then you look at 3 from the top deck, and you play pretty much any other Revolutionary Army type card besides itself, because it needs to play a 5,000 power or less. And it's not even name restricted, so you could play the smaller Emporio Ivankov as well. So this thing can cheat out every single card here that you see there, which is pretty good to do. And especially good when you get to cheat out Karasu. That's why sometimes you want to play this first, and then you possibly see a Karasu, lower the opponent, then attack with your leader. So that's another thing to note. But I love seeing this card, and it's a low chance that it whiffs because we only have a very few cards that are not Revolutionary Army. As you see, it's only Kingoku Nojo, Sanji, and Cracker. So the chances of seeing something are very, very high in this deck. Up next, a 2k and another trigger character. It's Satori. And yeah, simple. It's also a 2k in hand. So you can boost it with the leader's effect because it does have a trigger effect. So I made room for 2 of this. Like I said, we have to make cut downs for the newest cards, which being Emporio Ivankov 5-drop and 4-drop Inazuma, which are both very important cards. So we have to make room for stuff. So I decided to cut 2 Satorus from the last time. Last card is a 1 of his Emporio Energy Hormone. So it gives you 3,000 power, and then you play a Revolutionary Army type with 5,000 power or less from your hand. So that's everybody except for this one here because it has 6,000 power. So very good, and the trigger does the same thing. So in addition to protecting yourself, you get to play a card. So that's pretty damn powerful. Good to do early on, but some people don't know why you leave 3 Dawn, so then they just go hitting this, and then boom, you get to have a free 4-drop that would have cost 4 Dawn. Instead, it cost you next to nothing because you're summoning it on your opponent's turn. So it's almost like getting character for free. So yeah, I like to play 1 of this, and that makes the full deck profile. I guess the ratios looks nice in sight here. I hope you guys try it out. It's getting even more support in OP07 in the name of a couple of new Revolutionary Army cards, including I think Monkey D. Dragon and several other cards. So there'll probably be another update for that then. But this deck is very fun and very scary to play against because it's very trigger happy. And again, actually has a good matchup against Katakuri, which is most people's nightmare. This format, they're just tired of seeing those triggers. So when you see your triggers, sometimes they're just better than the opponents because you just have it all. You have what katakuri has pretty much, except for 10 drop Big Mom, but most of the time you're ruining your opponent and you're just knocking them out before they reach 10 down, because that's what this deck tends to do. So like I said, if your opponent's not hitting you for triggers, you get to go for the 5 drop Emporio Volkov. So that's your new way to make board presence without relying on triggers. So yeah, thanks for watching. This has been the deck profile, and I guess I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.